broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. Our next guest is a Nashville-based artist. She's currently halfway through a Wisconsin tour. Her latest album is called Fool on the Fringe. I'd like to welcome Jay Rinn to Fox Cities Core. How are you doing today?
It's good to be here. Thank you for having us.
And, of course, Jenna Kapitsky, no stranger to the show. You've been on, this is your third time on the show.
I believe so, yeah.
Well, you've been on this tour now for, it's about 4 days now?
4 or 5, yeah.
I think we just finished our 7th show in those 5 days. It's been jam-packed, or jam-packered, as I like to say, with the Packers
She's
being
full of
out
these
here.
puns. I'm sure we'll hear a
Dad
lot of
jokes
them.
for days.
Have you been through Wisconsin before?
I haven't. This is my first time.
Okay, so for people that are unfamiliar with you, do you want to give us a little background? I know you're from California, and then you ended up moving to Nashville.
So I'm from LA area, and then I moved out to Nashville in 2013. So going on my 11th year this fall. And yeah, I started doing music, like solo acoustic gigs full time, June 2022. And I've had original music that I've sat on for years, and I was just finally itching, to get in the studio and record a record. And so last year was the magic year where everything came together, and put it out at the end of September, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm excited to share it with everybody.
So what does the title mean, Fool on the Fringe?
Oh yeah, so it's kind of a funny thing, and like I've had a few friends, who are super into like tarot stuff, who have given me like fun readings every now and then. And the Fool card always appears. And they were saying that like that appears for a lot of musicians. And just thinking about it and like the meaning of, I don't know if you've ever seen a Fool card depiction. It's like a young gesture on the edge of a cliff, and he's about to walk off, but he's just, sometimes depicted as playing music carelessly, and like he doesn't know he's about to walk off a cliff. But it has themes of youthfulness, of jumping into adventure or leaps of faith. And all of those were kind of also, kind of where I was in my life, kind of themes that I really resonated with, in terms of going into music. A lot of people would say it's a very foolish endeavor, or like, but for me, I wouldn't rather do anything else, and it was worth the risk and leap of faith, to put every penny I had into making an album.
Well, it's pretty cool too. You brought the album, so you have it on CD and vinyl,
I
which
do.
the vinyl looks fantastic.
My sister helped with the artwork. She did like the sun and like drew the little cat and the bridge and stuff. And my friend Cheyenne took the photo, found a pretty cool font, slapped it on there, and that was the process of the artwork. But the On the Fringe part of the title, so we talked about the Fool part. The On the Fringe just kind of refers to the fact that you can't quite put like, I feel like, a single label on the genre. There's really like a mix of blues, there's a mix of folk, rock and roll, like some, like, I don't know, more like indie pop rocks leaning stuff as well. So when people ask me like, well, like what genre are you? I'm like, oh, I kind of usually tell them like indie Americana rock, because Americana like implies roots, indie implies,
Indie
that there's
Americana rock, folk blues.
Yeah, there's
say.
all sorts of stuff going on. So that's the Fringe part.
Well, I got to catch you at Hyde Music. I got to see part of your set, and I was really glad that I got to see Holes in the Souls, which you said you actually had holes in your souls, which it was good to hear you. And that was a stripped down performance for what you've been doing on this tour, because you have been doing more of an electric set, haven't you? Mm-hmm. So it was great to hear the song stripped down, because it does kind of give, and Jenna's been playing piano, which you've been doing drums on the rest of the shows, haven't you? Or you've been doing, okay. So how many people are on this tour? How many people are with you?
So it was just Jenna and I that came up, and we drove up. It was about 11.5-hour journey, and we paired up with one of her good friends, Drew Hicks, on bass guitar.
Yep. Who played with Copperbox and Unity the band just a little bit and then also a good friend of mine, Michael Prusinski, on saxophone, who has his own project, Safe Sax Entertainment. So you guys should all check that out immediately.
Gotta love
after
the title.
watching this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's phenomenal.
How are audiences different up here versus Nashville?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, everyone's been awesome up
Really
here.
kind, yeah.
Yeah, really
It helps
kind.
that they like recognize me and they're like, oh, she's playing, like some country
Yeah, Jenna's
music.
a celebrity up here, so like I'm in great hands. She's taken me around, introduced me to just some really lovely
gosh,
folks.
we were at Lambeau Field. She tried cheese curds like in the bag. You go to Quick Trip. We
Are
had
they squeaky?
They were very squeaky.
Nature's Touch milk in a bag. I mean, I've been showing her everything.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah,
been
I
a
guess
lot
there's
of
some
fun.
stuff up here that is very Wisconsin that we just kind of take for granted, like the milk in a bag.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Lambeau Field?
Oh, it was beautiful, and it was cool to like go in the pro shop, and we got our Packers swag.
She tried a cheese head on top of this hat. So
I did, yes.
It was
There's a video of
hilarious.
that. We'll post it soon. I promise you.
Well, and I know you've done.
waiting.
You played Appleton, Green Bay. You were doing some shows today. Thank you for fitting some time in here to.
yeah, I just came from West Bend.
Yeah, was that show Inside? I hope.
Yes.
Yes.
And you've got some shows coming up. If people want to catch you, you're playing a little Jamaica in Green
May
Bay on May
1st.
1st.
That'll be a great tribute to PETA, who passed recently. So that'll be a fun one because I know he really inspired Janelle to open that and helped a lot with the Jamaican roots and stuff. So we'll be playing for PETA on May 1st.
Yeah, you're probably getting an education in the Wisconsin music history from Jenna on this tour, aren't you?
I mean, yeah, a little
Hints of
bit.
it
I mean,
here
at
and
least
there.
the local music scene for sure. I mean, we've been to some just local studios and met band members who have had all sorts of great stories, fabulous musicians, and yeah.
As far as you said, the people have been pretty nice and
Oh, yeah.
open ears. In Nashville, is it a little harder to get people to listen since it's so saturated? Is that a fair assessment?
I think I don't know, at some venues you're playing for a lot of other musicians, so sometimes you can usually pinpoint who's the musician in a crowd because they're just staring at you, kind of like
Well,
that.
also a lot of tourists who are stopping through Nashville or visiting, as these people live here and they look forward to
Yeah.
recognizable faces.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, Nashville is more saturated, but everyone you meet is likely a phenomenal musician. So I think in that way, people are kind of if you sound great, they're okay, it's just another day, in Nashville. So it is kind of nice to get out of town sometime and meet folks who, it's very heartwarming, when people just say how much they appreciate it because they maybe don't get live music as often, and in which case it's an honor to be able to bring that to them and share it with them because I truly do believe in the power of music to speak when words can't. And I don't know. At the end of the day, we're all people, and I think at our core, everyone loves music. So.
At our core.
Yep, at our
We hear
core.
that.
Yeah.
Well, so is your primary instrument guitar?
I would say, actually, honestly, vocals, that's my love in music. I mean, but I love playing guitar too. I dabble in other things too, keys, drums, a little harmonica, but yeah, most of the time, I play a lot of solo acoustic gigs around town, and then every few weeks or so I'll do a full band set somewhere. Yeah.
And so prior to recording this album, you said you had a lot of the songs sitting around.
Yeah.
You just decided it was time to get them put down.
Yeah.
Did you just go into a studio in Nashville, or how did you pick where you're going to record it? Did you do it yourself? Did you have a friend that knew how to record?
So, yeah, prior to this record, I did put out previous singles and stuff, all that were recorded in my bedroom, and then I may bounce the tracks to, another friend to lay maybe some drums or bass or guitar, and then I would send it off to someone separately for mixing and mastering. But with this record, this was my first full-length studio album where we went in, I got the musicians together, charted out the songs. It's kind of all right, here's kind of the vision, here's what I'm going for. So take that for what you will. like, have fun with it. And I was really thankful. We had a really, like, positive few days in the studio. You know, everyone seemed to have a lot of fun. I made sure there were plenty of snacks. And we recorded with a good friend of mine, John Salloway. He has a great studio set up just south of Nashville. And we met because we're both in Beatles tribute bands. I'm in an all-girls Beatles tribute called Penny Lane. He's in one called Forever Abbey Road. And just, you know, with the Beatles community, that's a whole nother talk show for that. But we ended up crossing paths. And what sold me on his studio is he had a big picture of John Lennon in... like, if you go to the website, that's the first thing that comes up. And I was like, this is the place. Because there are a few other studios that are like, hey, you should record here. And I was kind of shopping around, but that one just seemed to feel right. And I'm glad I did.
Well, in Penny Lane, you do you have the part of John Lennon.
Oh, John, yep.
It was,
You've creeped on me a little bit.
Yeah, John's he's not an easy Beatle to kind of get into the mind frame of. He's got a lot of, like, the deeper lyrics, I would say.
He's been my favorite. He's largely how I got into the Beatles. My dad had a John Lennon Greatest Hits album that I found when I was like 6 or 7, and I just couldn't put that down. And then my sister was like, well, you know, he's in the Beatles. And I was like, oh, okay. And so she opened the door. She had a few Beatles albums that she shared with me. And then for my 13th birthday, my parents got me, like, Abbey Road, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's. It's got a stack of those CDs. And from then it was history.
Well, I know that you're going to be playing at the Cavern. Is that right?
Yeah.
At Liverpool?
Mm-hmm. This August.
That is like something that I would be very excited about. How did that happen?
Yeah, so we did it last year too, but my bandmate Sammy Jo, she's a Paul McCartney in the group. She had visited Liverpool a couple years ago on a trip there, walked into the Cavern and goes, how do we play here? And they're like, well, what do you got? She's like, I got an all-girls Beatles tribute. And I'm like, okay, like, we're going to introduce you to the guy. So she made a connection with the guy who books there. And he sent her the application for the festival and was like, I'd really encourage you all to apply. He's like, we don't have any other all-girl Beatles tribute bands. And so would love to hear you guys. And thankfully, they let us in the door. So we did that for the first time last August. And we're thankful to be back and very excited. I get to, you know, nerd out like a little girl. It really felt like a spiritual pilgrimage the first time, getting to see where John grew up and where Paul lived, and just all these places and so many of the places which inspired the songs was really special.
How do you feel about the stage at the Cavern? Is it smaller than you thought it would be?
Oh, it's so small. Yeah, it's a very small stage. They actually now, for like bigger acts that come there, they have a back room called the Cavern Live Lounge, and that's actually where a lot of the like big bands will play now. And then they'll just kind of put like a tapestry behind that kind of mimics the Cavern stage setup. But yeah, no, they have live music every day of the week. The city of Liverpool itself is very similar to Nashville. Like, it's there's just music popping out of every single bar and grill and restaurant and venue, and really nice folks and just a lot of talent.
How did, like, I know, Jenna, you sat in for one of the Penny Lane shows, didn't you?
Just one of them with maybe a day's note, less than a day.
I know you talked about it when you were on this show.
I did. Yeah, I do remember.
She's a hardcore Beatles fan now.
Oh, yeah.
She's come a long way.
So I remember Jenna was like doing a lot of Facebook Lives and playing some of the...
Yeah, that's always been my thing, yeah.
Yeah, some of the more tough Beatles songs, and I think you did get an appreciation for
Lady
some
Madonna, yeah. Whipped that one out.
Yeah, so how did you two meet? Was it through the Penny Lane?
Funny enough, through the same guy that I recorded my album through. Mm-hmm. And
I had recently moved to Nashville. This was about a month in February of 2023. And he put us on a guest list to come see his tribute band. And we were both on the same list. And I don't know, you guys were a little late and the lights were turning down. And her friend, my roommate now, Sammy Jo, hello, you better be watching. She's like, just pick a seat. And
I was like, oh, she looks nice.
I was looking great, I guess, and
yeah, I was like, hi, can we sit here? And then what was funny, we go to sit down, and then
I'm like, oh my gosh, Sammy.
And then she recognized.
And then we were talking.
So we were bound to meet eventually. Is a lot of mutual friends.
It was like on accident, but not really at all.
That's pretty cool.
So then you decided to get involved in this Wisconsin tour.
Yeah.
Is that mostly, was it asking Jenna if she wanted to be a part of it, or was it Jenna suggesting, hey, maybe we should roll through Wisconsin? And
Well, after putting out the record, Jenna actually stepped in, and like she's been playing with me in a lot of live shows back in Nashville on keys for all our full band shows. And there were a couple gigs where she stepped in on drums as well. Have you heard her on drums? She's phenomenal.
yeah, she's really good.
Oh my gosh. I can go on and on and on.
Well, you remember my senior recital, but that was more like grab a timpani stick, a mallet. Wait, 4 mallets.
That was like a sampler
stick
platter.
for
Sampler
steel drum.
percussion instruments.
Yes, obviously very, very talented and a good weapon to have in your band, obviously.
Yeah, so we played together, and then she asked me a couple months ago, she was like, hey, out of curiosity, would you be down to do a tour in Wisconsin? She's like, I could probably book us some shows, and I went, sure, why not? So that's what came
It was crazy how it all worked out. I mean, usually, I guess in our experience, you have to book super far in advance, and I got all the dates within just 2 weeks, and thank you to all the places, if any of them are watching, for having us. I know a lot of them, have had me play with bands in the past, so we're really excited.
Yeah.
And how did you learn the source material? Just played live a couple times? Did you listen to the record for a while and then?
Oh yeah, I mean,
and
it's been out since, is it September of last year?
Yeah.
Are you playing it pretty close to how it was recorded, or are you adding your own spin?
We try to, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty similar.
How do you adapt when you're doing a show like at Hyde where it's stripped down and all of a sudden you're doing piano instead of drums?
It's moments like these that I'm grateful that like drums and piano are kind of even, where it's like, I know the parts so well, I don't necessarily have to interpret. I don't know. I know what I'm doing somehow. I can sometimes listen to the record over and over without actually sitting behind drums, but I can play the show. So like driving up here, we listened to some of the covers we were going to play, and it's a unique talent, I guess.
One of the covers was Nancy Sinatra, These Boots Were Made for Walking. And,
yes.
And that was, Jaron did a great job singing that, a great interpretation. And in the piano, you could kind of tell you were doing some of the bass.
A lot of honky tonk. Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, we had to add that one to the list after Holes in the Souls. We were like, well, might as well.
Shoe themes.
How would you describe your singing style? Because it seems like it's influenced by obviously country and a little bit of rock, and then there's also almost like some jazzy kind of like sultry kind of stuff in there.
Yeah. Oh, I have a huge range of influences for sure vocally. Yeah, the jazzy stuff, maybe a little like Peggy Lee, Etta James, but then also like I'm a huge rock and roll girl, so I mean Janis Joplin's, but also like Linda Ronstadt. She like did every genre in the book and was a huge like influence of mine. Jewel, Alanis, like there's just like a huge range, but I think of like everything I could do with my voice is, it's my paint palette. And then in a song, depending on, I try to always just insert myself into the story of what I'm singing and sing it as if I were telling it to a friend. And sometimes that calls for different like vocal textures. And so I kind of pull from all those little influences. And
are you typically writing on acoustic guitar, or what instrument? Are you just writing it with just lyrics?
It varies. I'd say most often like jot down lyrics pretty daily. Even if it's just a couple lines that come to mind, I might pull out my phone, put in my little notes app. But yeah, it's a special thing when you can like sit down with an instrument, and for me it's been guitar, it's been piano. Sometimes it's just as I'm driving in the car and the melody and lyrics will all come at once, and that's a pretty nice feeling when you hit that kind of lightning strike. But it's hard to plan for those.
Well, it's such a big accomplishment too to get an album completed. Are you?
Thank you.
I always hate asking this, but have you started writing the next one already?
I have, yes. I have several songs, and I just started working with my friend Roderick August, who's a phenomenal artist in Nashville, and he's going to be helping me produce the next single, and so that's very exciting. That one might have a little, like, as far as production influence, maybe a little Lana Del Rey, like, kind of dreamy, sultry track. It's kind of the direction that one's going in.
Was there any lessons learned from this album that you're going to try to avoid on the next album? Or anything you did really well on this one that you want to replicate?
What I can celebrate from this is that when you put it on, it sounds like a live performance, which I think in a lot of ways it kind of was. You have musicians who the songs are fresh to them because they had to learn them really quickly. We jumped in there to long studio days and just kind of ran things with the bare bones of like bass, guitar, and drums, recorded that, and then we like, okay, now we're going to do background vocals, guitar solos, and it was all just very fun and just jumping on in. I think now, like, already, like, I've spent the past several weeks, like, with different kind of visions for the next record and how I want it to, each song to, you know, really, like, I don't know, kind of flow, lead into the next one. Like, it'll be a little bit more of a concept album. And so that's really exciting. And I think I'm going to be a little bit more detail-oriented going into the recording process. But for this one, like, this was just so important to me because I reached this point in my life where it's like, I can't wait any longer. I need to just get the ball rolling. And so this was me jumping in with 2 feet. And now that I'm in the water, I can kind of, you know, take my time with each stroke. I don't know if that analogy was good at all, but we're rolling with it.
I hope the camera got that.
Well, you recently did another live thing while you've been here. You did Channel 5, Live at 5. How was that experience?
Yes, that was great.
It was hard to wake up that early.
What a beautiful
Love those hosts.
What a set they have there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was awesome.
It was great. I walked in, the weather guy was like, yo, Jenna. And the sound guy, Sam, hey, what's up?
Really nice folks.
I saw the post when you were there. I was going to text you and say, hey, take advantage of that green screen, the weather green screen. Take some
We meant to.
We said that, yeah.
We totally meant to.
How can you kind of walk me through what was going through your mind during that performance and the whole experience of it?
Oh, man. I mean, the night before, I probably, you know, sang my voice out a little bit on Me and Bobby McGee at the close of the night. We had it going. We were just, you know, kept cranking up that tempo. There was just a lot of la-da-da-da-da-da-da, screaming and all sorts of stuff, people dancing and saxophone. It was, so that morning I was like, oh man, rocked pretty hard. Let's see what I can pull out. So we were like, well, let's do some low-key numbers. But no, it was an awesome opportunity, and I appreciate Jenna, you know, reaching out to them and arranging it. It's always special to get to share original music.
Any
stage fright when those cameras started rolling live?
Well, we have like 5 in our face now, so probably a similar feeling. It's super cool though because they have this big red like on-air thing, and if it's like on, you like can't go in the door or make any noise. I was like, I had my coffee, I was like putting the sugar, and I was like waiting to pour, but I was like, there's no way they'd hear that. But it's cool. It's just a different vibe.
Yeah. And they have the little teleprompter, you know, with all like the text, which is kind of neat to see. And it's funny,
Fast
it like
readers.
pops up and it's like, music starts. Oh wait, that's us.
Did you get a picture behind the desk, the news desk?
Yes.
Got to do that. That's a lost opportunity.
We didn't. No, he was asking if we got a picture behind the news desk.
Oh,
no, we did it wrong.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. All right, when can we break into the station to get that photo?
Did you get any feedback from people that watched the performance?
No, the sound guy was great. There was
People
no
on Facebook
feedback.
would
No, I'm kidding. Got to joke. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we had some nice fans reach out. like on Facebook and
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Had a couple folks turn up who had seen us on the station and come out to our little Familiar Grounds gig the next day, so that was pretty cool.
That's pretty nice that they would do that. And that
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Well, on today's gig, someone had commented, "Oh, I saw them on Friday," and then someone today is going to come to the. So it's kind of like you gather fans along the way, and then you just rack them up.
Crack up the bands.
Can you tell me what the stay on the Heidi and Frank Stay or Go show was?
Oh, yeah. So Heidi and Frank show is, oh man, what a segment. That's been going on KLOS for years, on 95.5. That's Los Angeles classic rock station. And they have this show series called Stay or Go, where they'll pull up, you submit online, a couple of songs, and in my case, like, I didn't expect it would be this quick of a turnaround, but I submitted, and a couple days later, I got a call from this guy named Johnny Ice, and he's like, "Hello, is this Sharon?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "How would you like to be on next week's segment of Stay or Go?" Like, wow, you do have a radio voice. This is crazy. I was like, I would be honored, and but that one was a little nerve-wracking because they play one song and then they take callers who basically vote on whether you should stay or go, like leave the music industry altogether.
That's
yeah,
harsh.
it's pretty harsh. Like, and yeah, there have been some bands that unfortunately, that they'll have on and people just be like, "Sorry, it's a go. Like, go find a day job." Like, it can be really harsh.
So you submitted because
I needed to know. I need to know. I mean, like, if they told me to hang up my hat, honestly, like, I'd respect their opinion. No, I probably wouldn't. Sorry, Heidi and Frank. I'd probably be like, I'm still gonna do it whether people like it or not. But
guess we have to break into a lot of places. Just with the hammer, start smashing after hours.
Oh man,
It worked out well. It sounds like, so that's great.
yeah, but it was fun. People thankfully voted stay, and it was neat. I got to talk to some of the callers that had like called in. They read some comments on the website, all like very encouraging stuff, which felt all warm and fuzzy inside.
How do you deal with criticism, either positive or negative? Is it easy for you to take a compliment?
Oh, wow. Not exactly, to be honest. Okay, let me phrase that differently. It is easy if I feel like I've earned it. And I think this is something that, like, I've had friends who are like, they're working with me on it, because sometimes, like, as artists, let's say I do a show and I'm like, it wasn't my best. I need to go back to, like, the rehearsal. I wasn't whatever and delivering what I intended to. And so someone's like, "Great show." And I'm like, "Oh no, I just wrecked it. My guitar fell a little out of tune." And I'm thinking of all those little things. I've had to work on that, on how to just like accept it, and also trust that, music like really has its own power outside. I'm just a vessel. And so songs, like, if they speak to someone, like, that is something to be celebrated. So in that way, like, I'm always really grateful, even if I have like my own kind of internal, "Oh, I want to do that differently next time." Like, I am very appreciative if someone receives it well. So in that way, like, I'm like, it's nice to accept. But it has been a learning curve sometimes when I'm like, "Oh no, but I can do better, I promise."
Well, you've not only this tour in Wisconsin, you've toured all over the place.
Yeah, good bit.
Do you have a favorite memory from past gigs in different states?
Oh, I mean, right now, like, the album release show really was like a really cool moment out in Nashville. It's at one of my favorite little bars and girls called Fat Bites. And I've known the owner for years, Julie. She's amazing. She used to have another restaurant that I would play there weekly back in college. And so it just felt like coming home to deliver, like, my pride and joy, my little baby that I'd been working on with my friends. And a lot of people turned up. That was really cool. My favorite, like, all-time, like, I can die now experiences performing is I sang in a choir back in college. I got to back up the Rolling Stones. That one was like, okay.
You have to tell us about that.
It's not going to get much better than that.
Details.
So that was at LP Fields, which is now Nissan Stadium in Nashville. And so, like, 60,000 people all, you know, screaming at you. It's a whole nother ball game when you're walking on the stage. It's just loud. And they give you these little earpieces. And I will never forget because, like, it was terribly mixed. And, like, I couldn't hear, like, every part of the band. All I heard was, like, sorry, Keith, you know, I love you, but, like, Keith's really out-of-tune vocals on a little of the keyboard. No, Rolling Stones are one of my favorite bands of all time. And I come from a family. My dad impersonated Jagger in a Stones tribute for a bit called The Ultimate Stones. And so, like, I was born and raised on their music. And so that was pretty special full circle moment. And when Lisa Fischer came out, she's been touring with them for years and doing all the big, like, vocal stuff on Gimme Shelter, Live With Me, all sorts of songs. And she, like, came out and was like, my choir. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm dreaming. Pinch me, I'm dreaming.
How did the rehearsal, like, did you get to rehearse with the band at all, or did you rehearse separate and then first time with the band?
We got to sound check with them, but the rehearsals were separate. Like, they gave us, you know, the sheet music of what they wanted, and it was during You Can't Always Get What You Want. And what was neat is the choir couldn't tell us what we were doing, like, in advance. They just said, hey, let us know if you can make it on June 17th. And they were like, it's going to be really cool. You're going to want to be there. And so I agreed to it before knowing that it was going to be the Stones. And then it was one night, my roommates and I, they were also in the choir, and we were like, wait, what else is happening June 17th in town? We were like, the Stones are playing. Wait, are we going to be like, no. And then for the Zip Code tour, they were pulling choirs from every city that they were in. We're like, shut up. And we drank so much that night. We were very excited. We did party it up. We're like, yay. And when we got into the first rehearsal, they had all these, like, really sleek black folders on the desk. And they were like, don't open them. And then, like, everyone's sitting down nervously. They had some, like, business lady in there who then is like, you may open your folder. And we, like, open it, and it's like, You Can't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones. And so it had all our vocal parts, and it was like, never thought I'd be here.
Did anybody get any photos of you on stage?
Oh, yeah, and there's some video of it you can find online. Just look up Belmont University Chorale, Rolling Stones. I think, there's a mixture of videos out there from, like, our sound check, from, like, the actual live performance. My dad has a few videos, or, like, pictures of, like, me and the choir, and Jagger's, like, right in front. It's funny, phone quality and all that stuff isn't, like, or wasn't like it is today, even just a few years ago. It's grown so much. So they're a little fuzzy, but you can still tell it's generally me. And generally Mick, he was like in a bright color and like pointing in a very Mick way.
What a great story.
Yeah.
And Jen, I think I saw that you ran into Billy Gibbons recently down in Nashville, or he popped in on a
Yes,
gig.
so Sammy Jo, who we were just talking about, she has a round at the Virgin Hotel. It's called Sam's Jams, and every week she's got like a new theme, and I don't know, that was a super cool moment. Very humble guy, and he was like, "Oh, I love the music. I'll be back." So
he probably stands out with
luckily
that beard.
I was playing that night. I just did some keys stuff for Sammy Jo, but yeah, that's really normal for us to see people like that. And
have either of you performed at the Ryman yet?
Not yet.
Mm-mm.
It's gonna happen.
I did the Opry though last year. That was
another cool experience.
Yeah.
But so
crazy.
Is the Ryman on your bucket list?
Oh, absolutely. I think about it all the time.
So being down in Nashville, there are so many like, iconic venues, and I mean, it's just all the way down the Strip and all around town. Does it get overwhelming at times being down there in the center of all that?
I would say no. I don't feel like overwhelmed. I like, what I have on my plate now. I play with maybe 6 or 7 different groups. Sometimes it's like fly dates over the weekend. You piece your schedule together. I'm doing music full time. I never ever thought I could ever say that a year after graduating, college and stuff. So I'm like super happy I took the jump and moved down.
It's pretty
What do you think?
inspiring, honestly, to be all around it. And sometimes, I'm also guilty of taking it for granted, like of just, oh yeah, just another, great band over here. But, when I come back to, when I go out of town and then I come back to, I'm like, wow, the city is like so rich with talent and history. And it's not just country music. Like there's a whole bunch of other stuff there too. It really is a melting pot of all sorts of stuff going on. So it's a beautiful place to live. And yeah, Ryman is one of those venues where I'm like, okay, maybe someday.
nice.
And that one, the Opry, or all these places. Yeah, it would be an honor to take those stages someday. So we'll speak it, right? Is that how it starts, with speaking it into existence?
Here's a question for you. If somebody said, give me one song, I'll listen to one J-Rin song. And, what is there a song that you would suggest somebody check out if they only have time to listen to one?
Usually I ask people like, well, what do you like first? Because there's so many different things, and I can't tell you.
That's true.
Every time I talk to someone who's listened to the record, I ask them, what's your favorite? And like clockwork, I get different responses. So it is really hard to, just sum it up into one tune. Right now, Holes in the Souls is like, that's the most listened to, and that's
Great
like
track.
very much like kind of the classic rock jam, It's gritty, it's bluesy. Blues as a genre, I feel like is pretty like well received by people, they like feeling that heart and soul, and that one's just like an old time rock and roll song. So for people who like classic rock, that would be the one. But if people are looking, for something that's maybe a little bit more folksy, Tumbleweed is the closing track on the record, and it's a very just, cozy around the campfire song. There's some more serious kind of songs in
Well, then
there,
you got
like
Slipping Away, the
Wanted,
rocker.
and then the punk rocker, Slipping Away. That one's been another favorite, but it just depends on who you're talking to. My mom loves Vintage of Love, which is very jazzy and kind of,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, lots of
It
instruments
depends.
on that one.
Well, where can people find out more about you and the album and shows that are coming up?
Yeah, so jrinmusic.com and jrin music and all the places on Facebook and Instagram. Still learning how to, TikTok. I have a couple things on there, but haven't done much with it.
It's got to get overwhelming. Social media is out of control.
There's so many moving parts. Oh my gosh. I forget. I forget what my own name is half the time, or what I did yesterday, let alone remember to take one of the videos off my phone and put it up somewhere. But trying to get better at it. I had someone say that, just think of social media as another stage. I'm like, okay, that makes it a little more fun, because I love being on stage. I absolutely love it. I'd rather be in no other place. So that has helped with my mindset a little bit more about it.
Well, people can see that if you're in Wisconsin, you can find you at Green Bay again, and Menasha and Nina, May 1st through the 3rd. So if you plan on seeing J-Rin, don't wait. You've got 3 more chances. And you're going to perform in a little bit for us.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to play?
Not yet. I was going to pick up the guitar and see how inspiration pulled up. You want me to do that right now?
Special live performance from J-Rin on Fox City's Core. Take it away.
All right. This is a song off the new record. This is called Roadside. I'm on your roadside, hurting on the concrete, but you got no time for me. No, you got no time for me. I'm on your roadside, needing my cigarette, but you got no life to share with me. No, you got no life to share with me. See the sunrise far away. See you walk by and by and by. I dream of better days. I'm on your roadside, needing something to drink. But you let me burn in the heat. Oh, you let me burn in the heat. Oh, I'm on your roadside, just needing a smile. But you won't even look at me. No, you won't even look at me. See the sunrise far away. See you walk by and by and by. I dream of better days. I'm on your roadside, but my soul's gone to a different place, where he takes care of me, where he takes care of me, where he takes care of me.
Yeah.
Thank you.